All right. Check, check. Most stereotypical mic check ever. Okay. So let's see where we left off on this last time. This player controller. I've done a little bit of work outside of the stream, just for some of the more tedious parts. But I do have a couple things to accomplish specifically. So let's see here. We have. Why is that unhappy? Yeah, I don't think that's actually going to matter in the long run. All right, so this one, which is the one we're in. Cool. I've got like a million different things I was doing here. So what about we've got our libraries, right? Like all of these. No, I'm still kind of missing one. That's even assuming that they're all done. I don't remember what I've got. That's actually, that turns it down for you guys. I really need it turned it down for me. Let's see here. I'm going to turn the music down from there. And then adjust it from there. Tell you what, let's see how. Let's see how balanced that is. Leave that to myself. Okay, so I'm pretty loud. The music actually isn't. Okay, there we go. But I need that and this. Okay, it's better. Wish I had a little more fine-tuned control on my side of things. I don't want to hear the stream mix. I'll have to mess with that more in the future. Okay, this is this garbage, which is... Yeah, okay. I think I finished this one because it's pretty basic. Okay, so we need to do this stuff for the animation graph, I guess, would be a good idea. Let's add. It's the Information. Strut. Library. Let's see. Runtime. You know what, though? We're trying to build this off the adventure kit. Does it have... This would be a public. Movement components, trace utilities, target points. No. That's good though. So it doesn't rely on anything special for the anim sequences. So do this. And then we need to include our own. I mean, we do need that, but that's not what I was after. So thanks for that, I suppose. I still need the character enum library. There we go. Let's see. Creamy style. Is that a joke that I don't get? I saw your lurk message though. I don't think I have a lurk command set up unless that's a default thing. I need to, let's see. Yeah, let me just pop out that chat. And then I can put it next to, I don't so much need this nonsense. And then I can put it next to, that wasn't what I was trying to do. I was trying to put it next to the other window, that one. Yeah. Except do it like that. There we go. Now I can see both of those at the same time. That's much better. All right, great. That's wonderful. Malwarebytes, go away. All right, we got our generated struct. Now we gotta create. Oop, getting ahead of myself. There we go. Blueprint type. And then we need a generated body. A U property. Nope, not U function. Go away. U property. That's what I was trying to select. Edit anywhere. Blueprint read write. And then we'll give it the category of dynamic transitions. Might actually specify character transitions. That might be better. And then T object pointer. U anim sequence space animation equals no pointer. Yep, that's exactly what I need. And then U property. Edit anywhere. In fact, you know what? Let's save myself some trouble. We're gonna make a float, and we're gonna make it blend in time. Yep, actually that's exactly what I need, but I'm just gonna zero it out. And then another float, not a gloat, a float. I don't know that a gloat is anything. Out time. Float. Play rate. But we want to zero it out. And then float start time. Also zero it out. And then we can do struct blueprint type struct f p amount. Okay, we're doing a U property, but it's not the same. In this case, we're going to do visible defaults only. Blueprint read only. And this is going to be for the category of anim graph. Grounded. This will be for when one of the characters grounded. Copy both of these actually, so I don't have to do that too many times. And then we'll do float. Okay, I need to open up the character enum library. Is that the one I referenced? Yes, my character enum library. based on how I've named these things, let's do left, right. Actually, that should be forward, back. Did I, for consistency's sake, okay. Struct. Blueprint type. Struct. P. Velocity. Okay. We need. It's actually guessing about correctly for some of those. Not all of them. Like, this is wrong. I don't know what it's doing with this. Okay. We need forward and backward. Why you do this? Hey, Ambrosia. I think I was leaning away from the microphone, so I don't know that you would have been able to hear me. Hey, Ambrosia. I'm doing all right. Had kind of a slow day at work, you know, what with it being the New Year's and all. It's my first day back at work since, like, before Christmas, so Christmas Eve. So I was off for, like, 2 weeks, basically, or whatever that worked out to be. I don't even remember. It's been a blur. What is luck be a landlord? I see that on the shout out there. It says you were playing Luck Be a Landlord. roguelike deck building game, but in the format of a slot machine. X amount of spins to hit your rent amount and such. I don't know that I would be the one to describe a slot machine as a chill game, since there's such a high element of randomness to that, but sure. I guess if it makes you chill, then it's chill to you. And that's what matters. I feel like I hear cats causing chaos. The microphone's probably not able to pick it up. What are the cats doing? Are they destroying things? Let me check my security camera, see if I can see what they're up to. Okay, well, they're both down the hallway. Well, if they're destroying things, that's future me's problem, I suppose. I guess I need to update that Streamlabs message. It's sitting there spouting out 53 out of the 50 needed, so I gotta do something about that. Rotator. Aiming. Rotation. Let me see. This one. Okay, let's alter this message then. Let's do... That'll work. I can come up with something better later, but Okay. Relative velocity direction equals f vector 0 vector. F vector acceleration equals f vector 0 vector. Movement input. Do a Boolean. P is moving is false by default. And another Boolean for B has movement input. It's going to be a float for speed. And a float for movement. Oops. Input amount. Float for aim, yaw. Right. Float. Oop. Float. Zoom amount. And this is going to be for movement state. Previous movement state equals none. And then EOMP view mode. View mode. Third person. I guess I need this part again. We'll modify it a bit. But this is kind of what I need here. So the next section is an anim graph for that. So use struct FOMP graph grounded. We can change this to blue, print, read, write. Visible defaults only, that should be fine. And change this guy. That should work that way. The rest of these can be read only, I think. B should move. B rotate left. False. Pivot is false. Float. Alrighty. Have a good lunch. Rotate. Right. Not that. Right. Float. Walk, run, blend. Standing play rate. Float. Crouching play rate. Yep, that's exactly what I was after. Float. Prone play rate. And then walk. Oh no. We'll do it as a stride. Blend. are yours. Thanks for the follow, Shade Monarch. Lost track what I was doing. Yes, next use struct. This needs to be the next anim graph, which for my states would be we did grounded, so this would be in air. What am I cooking? What? Audio Tori, I guess you're watching on YouTube. Let me check and make sure that something's not wrong with my YouTube stream title. What do you mean by cooking? Or are you just kind of asking what I'm making? And I'm just being old and not realizing it. I need a different window of that. All right, Shade. Thanks for hanging out. Let's check the stream title. Make sure I didn't mess up which one YouTube is tied to. No, C++. Yeah, no. That looks fine. Yeah, no, it looks like it's fine. Yeah, I mean, I kind of figured that was a modern phrase. That's what you meant. I mean, I'm not that old. I just was, you know. There's always the possibility when I'm simul streaming to two different platforms that I have miscoded something and have sent the wrong information. I want to make sure I wasn't in the wrong category on YouTube. So to answer your question, this is at the moment a player character controller and its associated components. So things like animations and stuff for a third person sort of survival horror game, kind of like a Resident Evil 4, except it won't be zombies. It's got a different sort of hostile entity in mind. But it's a project that I worked on like years ago and had to kind of put aside while I finished up my degree. So I'm kind of coming back to it and I'm kind of starting over from scratch here. So these are just the character components. So like right now I am working on the structure that will hold like the animation graphs and stuff, which will determine like if the player character is doing something, which animations need to play, and if it needs to try to blend more than one animation to make things a little more seamless. Streamlabs, why are you on the YouTube side of things saying we are NA out of 50? Oh, gracious. I guess that's what I get for letting Streamlabs talk to both chats. Well, it looks like a lot of code, but I appreciate the positive outlook on your part. I find the coding part to be pretty boring. It's just sort of mandatory. So I'm trying to get through it as efficiently as possible so that I can do some more interesting like design level stuff and actually have something to play around with. Right now it's staring at lines and lines of code, but that's just kind of how this stuff works. So these need to be read-only, which is fine. We can copy this guy. I was also a little surprised that I had anyone in the YouTube chat. Usually everybody's in the Twitch chat. I just kind of stream to YouTube so that the archives are already there and I don't have to transfer that stuff. But I appreciate you swinging by and letting me know you were there. Jumped equals false. I should have copied that so that I don't have to retype this each time. All right, before I make a fool of myself again, adjust that just a tad. Float. I'm gonna do float. Jump. Play rate. One should be fine. I don't know that we need to do any higher than that. Oh, float, fall speed. By default, we can just make that 0. You know, when it comes to watching stuff, I certainly spend more time on YouTube than Twitch. But I will say it seems like it's easier to get viewers on Twitch. And I don't really know why that is. I mean, I'm sure I could probably look up the reason. It's probably been explored. Let's see, fall speed. I need my land prediction. The unfortunate part about coming back to this project is I think it was a week or two ago, did a stream where initially I was going to come back and work on this, and went to open it up on stream, and what do you know, the project was broken and it wouldn't open at all, and spent basically 2 hours on stream trying to get into it. Finally got into the project only to realize like so much stuff was missing. I had basically blown it away at some point and planned to start from scratch. And so at that point I was like, well, I guess that's what we're doing. We're going to start from scratch. So, let's see. I need... OMP anim graph. What are my other near mental and climate crawling? Let's do... Yeah, I think the amount of streamers is much lower on YouTube. That probably seems to be true. I mean, outside of making sure my stream recordings go on YouTube because they'll stay there permanently. I haven't uploaded anything to YouTube in like 8 years, but I'm hoping for that to change soon. I'm gonna, once I get a little further along with this, I'm gonna start doing like some recurring like developer diary type videos. And just do some like gameplay videos as well. Not just of this, but like, so Tuesdays and Thursdays are usually my development streams. So it'll either be something like this, or I do web development as well. So it'll be some website stuff. And then Fridays are usually games, and it varies what game, but I'll probably do some game playthroughs, like offline type stuff, and record those and put them up on YouTube. That's what I used to do. And then I had to, with my degree programs and everything, take a break for like 8 years. So like outside of the streams I've been doing over the past month and like the shorts that I've been posting from the streams, I think my last video was 8 years ago, and it's probably very cringe. I did it again. I forgot to copy that. Let's see. Let's do float. Play rate. Let's see. If I do AF vector, probably want that. And then no, I don't need another vector because I can always work those to get what I need there. What I do need is... I should probably get... B should move... Oh, wait. I gotta set Boolean first. B should move. Because these are similar things. We don't want it to rotate. That's good. Yep. We don't want it to pivot either. It's okay. You don't need to go watch them. I would recommend against it. That should be good for now. Okay, let's get our aiming values now. Oh, this is this awfulness. Hang on a second. I don't care for that one. I should just remove that from there. That's better. That one is just like kind of grating. Visible defaults only. Oops. Another case of blueprint read only. And we need our category. I mean, let's just put it this way. A lot of those videos were almost made as a joke. But in some cases, I'm not sure that people realized it was a joke. Like, I have one, and I think short of some of the YouTube shorts I've posted recently since starting things back up again, it's like the highest viewed video on the channel. And I'm not sure if people realized it was a joke. It was like a parody of like the MLG like shooter montages that were being made a lot at the time, because I was absolutely terrible. And so it was made as a complete joke, actually highlighting somebody that was carrying me through the game. And I'm not sure that people got the joke. coding too. What are you coding? A 3D renderer. So are you just making a 3D renderer for like the sake of doing it, or are you doing it for like an engine? What's the intended use case? Helps if I type that correctly. Still didn't type that correctly. It's supposed to be 2 R's. And make a whole engine. Well, I mean, if you're doing it just for the sake of like learning and knowledge, you know, because you want to the challenge of it, then I think that's a perfectly valid idea. Now, if it's, you know, a case of, hey, you know, real developers will make their own engine, I wouldn't do it that way. Unless like the thing you're trying to do isn't possible in one of the current available engines. But like if you're just doing it for a challenge, I think that's a great idea. You know, looking to challenge yourself, stretch out your skill sets, that kind of thing. But I could see where like you could get over your head real quick if you had like this idea that you could only work on something with an engine if you made the engine yourself. I just know that's what I see a lot of times when people talk about they want to work on an engine. It's like they think that that's like a core component. Building your own engine is a core component to that kind of stuff, like working on games or whatever the case may be. Nope, that's the wrong thing. Well, it sounds like, you know, you've got your work cut out for you if you decide to do that. But as long as you're not like locking it in as some kind of mandatory goal or precursor to something else, then I think that'll be plenty healthy of a hobby and keep you busy for quite a long time, probably. Yeah, getting attached to a project is definitely like a benefit and a curse. I definitely have found myself circling the drain on a project that I probably should have let go of a long time ago. So I know how that feels. I would say, like, over the years, what I've tried to do is, like, try not to put too much of myself into that project. Like, I don't know if that makes sense. Like, try not to evaluate myself based. Oop, I hit the mic. Try not to evaluate myself based on like the outcome of the project, and keep it as much of a hobby as possible. I've been told I have this problem of not being capable of having hobbies that are not more work, because my day job is as a software developer, and then my hobbies involve web development and game development. So I kind of have just found a way to turn my hobbies into more of the same of what I do every day. And that's not necessarily a good thing. I do try to sort of put barriers between my day job and what I do at home. So like I try to always do something to separate, you know, the act of me coming home from the act of me sitting down to work on something. So that I don't, if I have a bad day at work, I don't associate that with my hobby or my hobby projects. Those were supposed to be zeros. There we go. Exactly. Yeah. Don't make a project too much of your identity. Like it's okay to sort of have like your project be this thing you care about and put a lot of time into. But if you evaluate yourself based on how other people view the project, or if you put too much of you have to, what's the best way to put this? I'm kind of talking around it. There's there's a phrase I like, and I want to make sure I attribute it correctly. Let me Google it real quick and make sure I attribute it to the right person. Let's see. It is, where does it come from? Okay, well, now, assuming that this is correct, it's from an author or a writer, William Faulkner, who had a, oh no, sorry, I'm misreading this here. The earliest recorded use may be Arthur Quiller Couch's On the Art of Writing. So it's writing advice, and it is where it stems from. But you could apply it here, and that's that you should not become attached to one idea too much. I think the exact quote I'm looking for is "Kill your darlings." So you should be prepared if something's not going right, if you're really struggling on it, or if it's just not being well received, if it is something you're putting out into the public and letting the public view, you should be prepared to, kill something that isn't working, to stop a project if it's just not going right and you're burning yourself out on it, because you don't want to hit that point of burnout and sort of fall out of love with your hobbies. So yeah, the exact phrase is "kill your darlings." You don't want to put too much of yourself in a phrase. You don't want to be afraid to end a project just because you've put a lot of time into it already, because that'll put you in sort of a sunk cost fallacy where it's like, oh, I've already invested all this time into it, I have to keep going. And that's not where you want to be. I've been there. It's good to be willing to, like, especially since you're talking about a game engine, like that's huge. You're talking about something you could be working on for years potentially, especially if you're working on it by yourself. And again, you seem to want it more as a learning resource, which is good. That's a positive outlook to have on it. But just make sure if at any point it like starts to creep past that, and it starts to creep into, I need to do this for X reason outside of learning or outside of for fun. Something like a game engine is not the kind of project that you want to get that attached to, because it's a hole you won't dig yourself out of. I've seen a lot of people drive themselves, not literally crazy, but drive themselves crazy over that kind of thing. Let's see, this, and then float, arm, R. Yeah, finding that balance. Like normally people would look at it as like a work-life balance, like making sure you don't bring your work home with you. That's as much as I may joke that I don't have hobbies that aren't work, I don't bring my actual work home with me. You know, at the end of the day, when I clock out, I'm not going home and working on a project that has to do with my day job. I'm not touching that stuff. That stuff is off the table once the end of the day comes along. Having that barrier and keeping those things separate is important. But at the same time, you could very quickly create a literal job for yourself in a way that's not healthy. So it's just, you know, learning to balance things out of it. And that's also one of the reasons why, like, I probably could go a long time just doing development streams and have that be all I do. Because it is a hobby I can enjoy, but like, would I be happy long term with that? Probably not. I would eventually get burned out if I was doing that all the time. So that's why one thing I did was limit myself on how many days that I do it out of the week, stream period. And two, I tried to relegate the majority of the work I do to those streams. Stream for a limited amount of time. And then I also have like a stream that I do where I play games on Fridays. And that way I'm also associating a more casual hobby with the streaming. And then altogether, I make sure that I kind of limit how many days out of the week that I stream. You know, I try not to generally stream more than 2 to 3 days a week. There were some exceptions of that a few weeks ago because I had not really ironed out my schedule. So I was kind of just streaming whenever I had the chance. And then I do still do the occasional off the wall stream. Like I did a birthday stream on Sunday because that was my birthday. So I got online and played some games with friends and stuff in chat. And, you know, that kind of lets me break up the, not monotony. Monotony is not the right word, but lets me break up what would otherwise be a very repetitive experience and what could eventually lead me to burnout on doing one or the other, whether it be the streaming or the development. Like the fact that I do development as a day job is already kind of putting me at risk of burning out by doing this stuff at home too. So kind of have to go a little above and beyond to find that balance. I feel like I really got on a soapbox there for a bit. Thanks for the lurk on Twitch. I am talking to both chats, so if you get confused, you should see the chats on stream, even if you don't see the chats in your particular chat message, because I'm on both YouTube and Twitch right now. And thank you for the follow. I'm assuming that's Avery Jordana. If I mispronounced it, I apologize. Yeah. Yep. That's kind of exactly what I was getting at. You gotta kind of have a personality outside of your projects when you get into this type of stuff, whether it be games or the engines that run them or any sort of creative endeavor. I would say, so my fiance does cosplay, and she does it on a very, very, very hobbyist level. She does it like, she doesn't really post anything online for it just yet, but I think she gets really tied up in the nitty gritty details. And so I sometimes have to like remind her that, you know, you are doing this for fun. You know, yeah, you could potentially be doing this professionally at some point in your life, depending on how things go. But like, you don't, until that point comes along and is actually happening, you don't want to try to like strive for that level. Like, you know, just like I don't want to try to stream like I'm making it a career, because quite frankly, those are astronomical odds to actually like be able to do streaming or videos or what have you online and actually make that the thing that you live off of, especially as expensive as things are now. And the inconsistency for that kind of thing, like, so it's just, you know, you gotta keep it fun. You gotta keep it not serious, I think. It's probably the way to put it. I see you're back, Ambrosia. You missed me on my soapbox. We have some viewers on the YouTube side. And I was on I say soapbox like it's a negative thing. I don't know. I went on a tangent. It's probably the best way to put it. Enable hand, not head. I don't need to enable head. Heads don't have IK. I do want those enabled by default. That's great to hear. Tangents are nice sometimes. Yeah, I'd say they can be. And this was not I don't think in any way a negative tangent. I just sort of realized after the fact that, wow, I really went off for a bit there. I either bored some people to death, or maybe said something coherent. Hi, YouTube. Hi, the collective YouTube. Actually, I'm not sure how many people we have over there viewing on YouTube. I'm only talking to one of them at the moment. Let's see. What do we got going on YouTube? What do we got on the YouTube side? Yeah, well, get me going on a few separate tangents in a short period of time, and you might regret it. I can really get going sometimes. Yeah, I think we only have, we've got one live viewer according to the back end of YouTube. Apparently someone popped in and said that the face cam is too big. Other than that, it's just the one. Got a couple other viewers, but only one concurrent, which is actually more than we've had in a while on the YouTube side. So we'll take that as a win. Definitely seems to be harder to get views on the YouTube side with the streams. Not to put you on the spot, how did you come across this stream? I'm curious. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I could see how it might be a little too big, but like, I mean, ideally, I would have a green screen back here and just cut everything else out, but this room is not finished. I'm in like effectively a under construction room right now. So I don't have a green screen to put up. So this is what we got. But yeah, I was curious how you came across the channel and the stream, because I've been trying a couple things and I'm curious if any of them are related. Recommended out of nowhere. Cool. Okay. Well, that's, you know, the mysterious box that is YouTube. So I was trying to start posting shorts around the time, like a few hours before I went live, on the hope that if someone saw the short and saw it was live, they might come watch. And I haven't actually looked at the analytics, and YouTube's analytics are a little delayed, so I'm not sure if that's actually done anything or not. You've noticed YouTube has been recommending smaller streams recently. That is, well, that's very nice, especially for those of us that are the smaller streams. If that is the case, I'll have to keep an eye out for that. I've noticed a lot of, I say a lot, I've noticed the streams seem to get views after the fact more so than they do while they're live. And I wonder if some of it has to do with some of my time zone, like some of the time frames of when I stream. I'll have to look into that. Let's see, visible defaults only. Yep, that's what we need for this one. I better copy it before I do something stupid. Let's see. Footlock cart. Whoop, 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 whoop. I don't need that to be a float. I need that to be a Boolean. I was about to do that incorrectly. I was also typing it wrong. Let's see here. Don't need that. Don't need that. Okay. Target footlock L location equals 0 vector. You know, I don't know why I'm getting this, but I'm getting this like sixth sense, Ambrosia, that you are going to go back and look at my sandbox that I was standing on, my tangents I was going on, and find some reason to clip it. Because you have been, and this is, I may sound like I'm being serious, but that's just because I have resting bitch voice. But you have been like on the ball for making clips. I didn't even realize you made the clips from the 7 Days to Die stream until after I made my own 2 clips and sent one of them to you. And then you said something and I was like, oh, what do you know? One of the things, or the 2 things I clipped were things you had already clipped. In fact, the fact that you've been so quiet for a bit makes me suspicious that you may already be currently scrolling through clipping in the past. Okay, because your username is so long, I'm gonna ask, should I call you Zoomers, or do you want me to say the full username? You don't know how to make clips after a stream? I'm safe this time. So, I don't know about for regular like users or channels where you're a regular user. And I guess I'm about to teach you something that I might regret. Give me a moment. Can I do this in a way that's not awful? Oh, that's... No, we don't want that. All right. I'm gonna show you something here, Ambrosia. So in the case of your own streams, I'm assuming you know how to do this part, where you can go into your contents and you can go to your video producer and click on one to get to your VODs. Once you're on a VOD page, which you should be able to do as long as the VODs are uploaded. And I think in your case, you don't keep most of your VODs, which is probably why you don't know how to make clips. Because I think you seem to upload your stuff after the fact. If you're on a channel and you go to a past stream, like in my case, I keep all my VODs as long as Twitch will let me. So you would go to a stream, you would go to here, and at least in your case, since you're a moderator here, I would think you should have access to this. I think pretty much anybody does, because I don't have mine locked down except for like the features. You would just hit the clip once the timestamp got to where you wanted it, or close to where you wanted it. Like in your case, you don't keep most of your VODs, last I saw, so that's probably why you don't know how to do that. You can create them as long as the VOD's on there. You just go to the VOD page and you can get to it that way. In fact, you can create clips from highlights too. So like you could just create a highlight first and then, right, but like you can go to the highlight page and that same clips button should be there. You can create clips from highlights. Because I have done highlights for sections of streams. Like when I was first getting back into streaming, I was doing like the first part of the stream would be development. The second part would be a game kind of thing. And while Twitch breaks that up into chapters, YouTube doesn't. YouTube, when you're simul streaming, kind of has it all under usually whatever the second thing you did is, because you changed your tags, your descriptions and stuff. So what I did when I was doing those is I would take down the YouTube stream and then go on the Twitch side and split it into 2 highlights or however many highlights, and then upload the highlights to YouTube as individual videos with the proper information. That way the tags weren't all mixed up. Yeah, you should be able to. I've made clips from highlights. It might be a thing where it's like restricted to your own channel, but in your case, you're a moderator here, so you should be able to, I would think. But I mean, you know how I am with things. If you can't figure out how to do it, you know how to get a hold of me. Hey, Funkified. We need F rotator. That sounds ominous, that you're going to have to test it later. Zero rotator. Also do this for rotator for footlock. L rotation. Yep, that's exactly what I needed. F rotator. Let's see. Those are the footlocks. Now I need the offsets. Nope, not rotators. No, wait. No, they do need to be rotators. At a moment of confusion. Offset. Okay. Yeah. We'll do rotations first. I need location ones too, but I can do the rotations first. It doesn't matter so much. Doesn't matter so much what order I do them in, as long as they're all here. Pelvis, and I was having the darndest time. All right. Float. Pelvis. Not pelvics. Pelvis. Alpha. So I am working on the same thing I was during the last development stream. So this is still that same game, and this is still the character component. Now, this particular file that I have been working on for pretty much the entire stream is related to character animations. So the idea being that, like, I'm going to have animations that in some cases only animate certain parts of the body. And that way they can kind of be layered together. So an example would be like, let's say I have the character has a regular standing animation for when they're just idle and they're standing in one place. And then they have, let's say when they're injured. So I'll show you on this here. I have, these are some of the states, and these are mostly examples. Like I could eventually expand to this. But my personal favorite here is injured. So I kind of have like these 3 levels to it in the case of this particular one, but that would be kind of a unique situation where the more injured the player is, they would, gradually hold themselves different. They would have a different stance. So, they might, if they get the heavier levels of injury, might result in them like putting one hand to their side and kind of being hunched over. But rather than like having 2 different animations where like the player is standing there, in one place with sort of that breathing animation that you would expect from them being alive and whatnot, rather than just having a standard animation of the player standing there and then an animation of them walking, and then also having an animation of them standing there and injured and standing or walking and injured. It would take the sort of injured animation, which is effectively just like maybe the hand on the hip or the side, and like maybe they're kind of slouched to one side. It's just got some slight variations on it, and it would sort of meld that with the regular animations, like you're walking, you're idle, so that the player would, or the character would look a little more lifelike, kind of piecing those things together. So that's kind of how it will handle things like holding objects. Since one character rig, this is like sort of a base character rig, it's not specifically the player. One character rig would be used, whether the character was male or female. I have these masculine and feminine things, so I can have some variations in how the character carries themselves that could be applied to a single set of animations to alter them a little bit, so that in my case, where I'm one person, I don't need like to create individual animations for everything. I can kind of create little layers to things. So that's what this is. And so what I've been working on here, it's not just that. Like some of this layer blending section right here specifically has to do with a lot of that. But it also has to do with just the transition between different animations, like walking and running and idle, and the character turns around or rotates, or whatever the case may be. They're aiming. That's kind of what this stuff is for. And this isn't even the section of the code that's doing anything. So this is a header file, which is just containing information, like sort of predefined information. And then later that'll get used in another file. So this is actually even more boring than it looks, because it's not actually, what I'm typing here isn't actually doing anything at the moment. But I'm glad I can make it sound more interesting than it is. You know what? Yep, I knew I did it. I was leaving off the blueprint type on these. I got to go back and put those in. Oh, geez. I did it on all of those. Oh, gracious. Okay. That would be a problem for future me if I left that alone. And then tomorrow will be game night, because tomorrow's Friday for me. I think for you it's already Friday, if I'm not mistaken. I have not decided what game I will play, though, for tomorrow. Nope, I don't want the Yar music. I don't want it. Go away. It's too bouncy. It annoys me. I was kind of thinking possibly playing the Silent Hill 2 remake tomorrow. I haven't actually played that, and it's been so long since I played the original that I don't remember most of it, other than like the overarching plot. But I also know that with just some of the imagery in that game, it might be better to play it as a video series where I can edit it as need be. I'd have concerns for streaming some of that. I don't think there's any downright nudity, but like I remember there being like some suggestive scenes in the original, or at least they looked like it because of the graphics at the time. I think a bunch of people have streamed it though, so it's probably fine. I also kind of want to play the Dead Space remake because I was a big fan of the original Dead Space, and the remake came out while I was still finishing my degree, so I didn't really get the chance to play it. So I thought about that too. Well, with any luck, it wouldn't be that full of jump scares since I don't know that they've changed that much from the original game. I'd probably only be super susceptible to jump scares that I had forgotten about. It was pretty linear. I say that, and it could just be smash cut to clips from me getting jump scared on something really easy. I can foresee it happening now. The only thing that stops you from doing it is Twitch doesn't give you a super easy way of doing that. But someone would manage it. Don't know too many scenarios where I'm going to want the character to be able to turn while prone, but having it coded where it's possible to do it with a turn in place is probably a good idea. So we'll have it here just in case, but I don't think we're ever actually going to use that. Let's see, negative 50 should be enough for that. And float. Yeah, all exact opposite for the max threshold, should be good. And then float, aim, yaw, rate, mid range. So that's, I think, going to be the yaw for aiming. We're probably looking at 90. But that would be adjustable later, so that'd be fine. 270. Shit. Yeah, minimum play rate. We don't really want it to... no, minimum play rate should just be 1.0. And then... float. Max play rate. Not player rate. Play rate. 3 times. Should be enough. I don't know of any scenario where we're going to need more than that, so that'll be good. And then ustruct. I don't know anybody that's going to move at the same speed crouched as they would walk. So we'll make this 120 for now. I actually feel like it should probably be slower than that, but we'll see what we can do with that. We'll say 100. I don't think it needs to be that much slower than crouching. velocity, blend, interp speed. Rounded, lean, interp speed. Float in air. Lean. Interp speed. Smooth aiming, rotation, interp speed. And then let's do float. Put yaw, offset, interp speed. And then make this a float. You trigger, pivot, speed limit. And then we need to set our foot height. Should be about that, based on the usual character model. And then float, dynamic, transition, threshold. Close. Float, IK, trace, distance, above, foot, equals 50. Float, IK, trace, distance, below, foot. Okay, let's see here. That's quite a bit for that. Which is good. And now it gets used. Let's see. Well, we've been live about 2 hours, and I finished the file that I started. So, well, that doesn't seem like a lot of progress. It was a lot of coding, and I don't really want to get into another one of these and stop it halfway. So I think I'm going to end stream a little earlier than usual tonight. I do have game night tomorrow. In fact, I'm going to switch. Not this one. This one doesn't have the schedule on it. Well, crud. I'll switch to this one. So I've actually got the schedule on screen. If you can't read it, it is also on the Twitch page. And I think there we'll actually convert it to your local time zone. But that's roughly 7 p.m. Eastern. Is usually when I go live. I was actually late this evening, of all things. But that's usually about it. And then so tomorrow will be a game night. But I also usually go a little longer on Fridays. So, as always, it was a pleasure having you hanging out, Ambrosia. Even though I know that you're probably somewhat bored out of your mind looking at the code here. I imagine I'm more of a background noise stream on these days. So, but it was a pleasure. And I hope everybody has a good evening. If you want to join in for the games tomorrow, I will see you tomorrow.